So in the whole AI space, the LLMs, the chatbot kind of race, Google's kind of been there. They've had a lot of negative publicity, especially around their Gemini model and the bias that it had, the kind of wokeism that was imputed into it. A lot of people kind of went away from it to Anthropic, to OpenAI, and open source models like Llama from Meta. But I think they're back. And first of all, it's no thanks, I guess, to their announcement of Willow, their quantum chip, where they were saying that it demonstrated high performance and resolved issues of the errors as the dimensional mathematics gets increased. And at first glance, you're like, okay, this is pretty cool. And I think it was a counter. I don't know if this is going to be some new thing that annually at the end of every year, all of these major players in the AI market are going to make these announcements. Like OpenAI right now, of course, is going through their 12 days of announcements. They announced Sora, for example, which is a big thing. And to counter that, I think Google was trying to come up with some PR. And they didn't really hit the nail on the head. I'm not going to go too much into this, but there's this really good post by Jeffrey Schultz that talks about exactly, a good overview. What is quantum computing, how it works, what the paper that Willow and Google released, and why it's nothing more than, I think most people, including experts I personally know, found it to be just merely a PR campaign, writing a clickbaity title. They write something seemingly more powerful tech that creates fear for engagement, so people get their eyes back on Google, and then they try to enhance their brand by showing that they're achieving some success on a hard problem. Like it was resolving some sort of quantum computing issue that was biased towards quantum computers that couldn't be verified in the problem that they resolved, and so it was a fluff piece, I think, overall. And that's not to say that Google is not making amazing investments in quantum computing and making huge advancements. It's just that, they just didn't really hit the mark with their announcement. But we got Google Gemini. That was announced. And it seems that the sentiment that I'm finding is overwhelmingly positive. People are saying it's actually useful. And Google, and I think in the right way, if you can't totally overcome the viewpoint on who the market leaders or who the state of the art is, like an OpenAI or Anthropic within these LLMs, of course you should still invest, create better models, because that's going to be the underlying architecture driving things like agents. AI agents are a huge bet for a lot of individuals, because right now the use of a chatbot is merely an assistant. And if you don't know the difference, it really is agentic AI. So assistive AI helps users complete tasks. Agentic AI performs on your behalf, autonomizes different tasks, minimum human intervention, rather than someone like if you input into a chat GPT and you read it, then you got to do use it to do some sort of task. This will do it on your behalf. And I think that's the big bet that Google's taking. Hey, if we can't kind of get our name out there as the leader, and they are performing as the leader in some metrics I'll get into, then perhaps this is the route we go. We become the go-to agentic AI model and platform with their Project Astra, Project Mariner, and whatnot. In that way, we'll develop our own market personality in that sense. And I think that's smart from a marketing standpoint, from advancement of their brand standpoint. That's the way to go. They need to quash the negative publicity they got back from Gemini and move on forward to what is actually useful and gain that trust back in the users. And you can see here from their announcement, they have Project Astra. They got a gentleman walking around looking at different architectures or different art pieces. It tells him, but with using computer vision, what it is, can go further by shopping artwork for him, doing different tasks, or even, like you can see here, is doing different shopping. Where is it? Oh, someone playing video games, Clash of Clans. I played this game and got addicted to it quickly in 2013, and I haven't touched, 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. Haven't touched it since. I can't believe people are still playing this game because it's such a time suck, but I also understand why people are still playing this game. But if you want to get better at it and perhaps have that additional eye on it, looks like Gemini's gonna be able to do that for you. There's recommendations on how to attack, what to build and whatnot, and that's just crazy. I personally not sure if I'm ready for an AI anything to be reading my screen at this point. It's not really trust issues, more of a privacy issue. So I guess it is a trust issue. And big behemoths like Google, like we already think that these companies are listening to us, even though they say they're not, especially if you have an Apple device and they have supposed to have the most security and privacy out of any sort of hardware manufacturer or provider of phones. It's still very odd that if I mention that I need a new rug, I get on Instagram and I get a whole bunch of ads for rugs. So adding on top of that, different people or different models being able to read your screen, a little iffy. Now, here it is on OpenAI, Google releasing on the Reddit. But here, this is what I find most interesting. Out of all this, the agentic AI hype and whatnot, usefulness. What is most useful? I think the number one use case right now is coding assistance. I personally, huge fan of Anthropic as a company, the C-suite that they have, the leaders at the top, and how they're running it, looking at responsible AI and the initiatives they're doing around security and privacy. And then you have the ability to use Claude Sonnet 3.5 as a coding assistant, which has kind of been the state, not kind of, is the state-of-the-art model based on how they train it and the corpus of information and coding that has been made available, resulting in very helpful outputs. And we see here through the software engineering bench test, which is how it performs a number of tasks within software engineering, that Gemini is edging it out by a full percentage point here on this graph. I haven't verified. It does say SWE bench verified on here. I personally haven't really dug into what that all entails, but this is what we got here. And overwhelmingly, the results of individuals who are fans of coding assistants and have gone on to use the early release of Gemini 2 Flash seem very positive, except for, with all the hype, its initial release looks like they have scaling issues. It's taking too long, but it says it really crushed code for them today. People are huge fans. This one thing that Gemini has done, and they announced this last year and earlier this year, is they keep increasing the context window, the ability for an LLM to go back and see the number of tokens previously outputted or inputted by you to give it further context to make sure that it's giving proper outputs as the discussion within the chatbot progresses. Google's cooking, scaffolding matters. I think some individuals, there are still some, here's some bold statements. Every day new models come out. People are looking to see how it compares to Gemini Pro versus the larger Anthropic models. Again, it's right now, according to the SWE bench, it's Anthropic versus Google when it comes to state-of-the-art around coding assistance. Pours a little cold water on OpenAI. See, this was a positive announcement for Google rather than their Willow announcement, which was heavily criticized by a number of subject matter experts within quantum computing. People were just crashing Google 2 weeks ago. Hell, they were doing it a few days ago because of the Willow announcement. Good to see Google making progress. Other people are like, do we really need this behemoth being a leader in this space? For me, it's just all about competition, the development of the best technology, and that benefits us. Now, if we find some underlying utilization of the information we're putting in and some things that we're not a fan of, then of course that becomes a problem. But this should really help the advancement of the whole market and utilization overall. Everyday new models come out. I thought there was one. Oh, why is O1 performing so poorly compared to Claude? Isn't O1 also slower, more processing? There was definitely another comment that I saw that I liked. Here we go. Here's kind of a negative against it. I gave 2.0 Flash 33 lines of Golang JavaScript and HTML code that he's been using O1 Preview on. Honest experience, O1 Preview is still better. And Gemini just couldn't, not only could it not perform the task that it needed, it said, sorry for wasting my time. So I think overall people are pretty excited. And I think Google kind of bounced back very quickly and perhaps that was strategic or just by coincidence that they announced Willow first, knowing that perhaps it was a bit of a fluff piece in the quantum computing space, or at least in their announcement, their advancement space. People are looking for what that market leader is going to look like in quantum computing and figure out, okay, how does this fit within this whole AI initiatives that people are going for? Still huge uphill battle based on how quantum computing works and how the math is needed for AI. But then they come back with Gemini 2.0 and people are happy again with Google.